Hi, good evening. This is the policy committee meeting for Wednesday, November 12th. Okay, so I introduce everybody. We have Dr. Peck, Mrs. DePayne, Mr. Zeichner, Mrs. Ratner, and Dr. Lehman as our administrator here for this evening. So did you want to go over?
Yep, I'll take it through.
Okay.
Yep.
So we had a policy alert
Yep.
update.
So we had a
Okay.
small policy alert update, and it's related to three particular policies that are all related, policies/regulations that are all related to each other. And the change was really spurred by some change in legislation. So they're updating each of these three related policies and regulations to align with the new legislation. So 9130, which is a policy and a regulation, it's something that we've had for years and years and years, and it's called public complaints and grievances. It's being changed to public complaints. And in essence, it's the structure that I'm looking for the exact wording here, but basically, it's a resident or someone with a vested interest in the district would basically bring forth a concern about whether it's staff members, and that's not what the changes are related to specifically, or resources, curricular resources, or library resources.
Yes.
So the changes here are specifically, and again, there's a lot of bolded and updates and things. Any changes they did were to really align with practice, and not our practice specifically, but district practices around the state, in terms of just timelines and things like that. But the biggest changes are really around separating library materials from curricular resources. That's the theme of all these changes. So the public complaints policy and regulation, they have that, the library resources, that's now a separate section. And that leads us to 2535, which is a policy and a regulation.
That's a new one
That
and
is
it's
a new-
mandated.
yep. And the reason I'm taking us there is because they're separating it based on the legislation
Mhm.
in 9130, which is, let's call it the process in which someone would bring up a concern about a library resource.
Mhm.
2535 is now new. Strauss Esme created it based on the legislation. And the reason it's separate is because library resources are looked at differently than curricular resources. So 2530 is basically curricular resources and anything other than a library resource. So 9130 is the process of the complaint. 2535 is the library specific piece. 2530 is all other resources. And the legislation said you need to define a process. We already had a process, a challenge process for resources. Again, specific to the change in legislation. They had to create 2535 as its own freestanding piece, library specific. And then 2530 remains the other resources and curricular materials.
Okay, now do we need to make any selections?
Nope, there are some blanks, but the blanks would be things that we could add.
Okay,
All of the blanks that are there, there's nothing we had in any of our former policies. And they're broad and general enough in terms of, resources. One of the changes they did in the resources 2530 was they got rid of the word CD-ROMs.
Mhm.
Because it's now, they're updating, they're aligning this to make it more current, right? And they have reference materials, not limited to maps, audio and visual materials. They get rid of CD-ROMs, pamphlets. So again, it's an updated piece, but this is specifically related to separating library materials, and that's based off of that new legislation.
So just
Okay.
looking at the process.
Yep.
So I'm just looking at it mentions regarding a teaching staff member other than an administrator or supervisor, things like that.
Yep.
I guess, is there a spot on our website where if somebody has a concern, they go and they see this process? Or is it more like if somebody emails to register a complaint, it's almost like a chain of command. This is where you should go
This-
to register.
If you look in in the regulation, it tells the process that goes. So if there's a complaint,
535?
Yeah, the regulation.
Yeah.
if there's,
I'm looking at 9130.
yeah, 9130
91.
says if there's a complaint to someone, right, and it's, the one you brought up was, other than a teaching member, they also have teaching staff and an administration, right? So each one of them has basically a process. The complaint would be directed to a teaching staff member,
Mhm.
right? If it's someone other than a teaching staff member. So if it's somebody in the classroom, you go to this person first,
Level
then
one.
you go to the next step, and then you go to the next step, or then it flows to the next step. So it's outlined already.
It goes by levels, level one, level,
Yep.
all the way up to
Yep.
level
It's
4 is the
essentially-
highest.
It's essentially a chain of command.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and again, that's nothing new.
Right.
Now I have a question about the new mandated
Yep.
policy, actually the regulation, the process.
Yep.
Where did I see? So request for removal form needs to be created,
Yes, so,
correct? And will that be available where?
so
Parents
the,
can access
it
it.
define, it says they need to be available in the principal's office. It says
Okay.
that in here. So, we will make them available. We're in the process of creating that. It basically says, what needs to be on that form.
Okay,
To be honest with you, it's the same thing that if you go to the other one,
Mhm.
530, when someone says they're questioning another
Mhm.
resource, it's very similar in terms of the title, the publishing date, those kind of things. So
Mhm.
the process for 2530 is, essentially it says you can email it. You know, it
okay,
doesn't say specifically, but it says communicate those things.
Yeah.
In this library materials one, it says you have to fill out that specific form.
Mhm.
So,
Right.
so we'll get the form created. and
That's
we'll have
right,
it-
that was my question.
But-
It's gonna be created and it's gonna be available in the principal's office, not on the internet, or not on the website.
That it says in the principal's office.
In the principal's
So we will
office,
follow
okay.
we will follow it.
Okay,
And then it'll say like the written complaint shall at a minimum include these things.
Yep.
It says in writing by the complainant to the superintendent. That's that form that would be in a principal's office
Yep.
that can then
or
get submitted
designee.
to the superintendent's office with like the title, author, publisher, all that
Yep.
stuff.
Yep, yeah, superintendent or designee. Yep,
And there has to be a review committee.
yep, and then we would put something,
Mhm.
I think that committee is really defined by what the complaint is, you know,
Okay.
because it involves a staff member from say it's a first grade, something first grade, it would be a first grade, potentially first grade staff member, it would be a representative from the board, it would be superintendent or designee, it would be a building administrator, so it's defined, but it's not something we can pre-create because any situation could be individualized. It could be
Okay.
high school, middle school, elementary, could be subject area based.
Okay,
So I know 9130 is revised. Is there, right, this is not a new one. This was a
it's,
revision.
they're all revised, the only new one is this library
The 20,
material.
Yep,
okay,
and it's what
Yeah.
happened is library used to be in 2530.
okay.
They've just taken it and pulled it out and then made sure the 2535 library specific one aligns with the new legislation.
Right, my question is this something that comes up that often?
No,
Okay,
nope,
So now when we move this forward for a vote, it'll be first read and then it'll be second read in December.
Yep.
So then after that, how soon do we have to implement it? As soon
We'll
as it
implement
has
it
a
as soon-
second, okay.
yep,
All
we'll
right,
have,
so right after the December board meeting, this process will be in place.
Yep.
Okay, just so that the public
And
who's
again,
listening will know.
there is no change to any challenge process.
Right,
The timelines, it's really separating the library material
Yes.
from all other resources and making its own policy regulation,
okay,
right? That's really the,
the only difference.
yeah, because we've always had the other two policies in place which define challenging resources, books, materials and things like that.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that's the significant change.
Does anyone have questions or comments on that? Okay, so, the other item on the agenda is our policy manual wellness check. We had a preliminary agenda that in November we would be looking at 3 of them. Smoking prohibition, educational stability, foster care, and harassment, intimidation, and bullying. Essentially, it was discovered that we're missing the regulation. We just don't have it.
So those regulations aren't missing because they don't exist in Strauss Esme's
Okay.
policy manual. The contents of those are embedded in other regulations
Mhm.
that Strauss Esme has in place.
So just before we signed on publicly, Ms. Ratner had brought up that Strauss Esme actually does their own policy wellness check for free. And being that so many things are not meshing with the one that we did through NJSBA, the committee, we can discuss this if you want to pursue.
I just want to clarify.
Yeah.
So I don't think they offer it for free as a service as like New Jersey School Boards does. But when I was at the workshop down in
Okay.
Atlantic City, I went up to the Strauss Esme representative and explained to her the struggles that we were having, where we did a free wellness check and we're finding a lot of these policies aren't matching numbers, or like, it's almost creating more work for us. And so she had said that she would be happy to do a check, a revision, like a check for us at no cost.
Oh,
So
okay, so
I don't
thank
think
you
it's,
for your advocacy then.
yes. I don't think it's, I don't want like everyone to think they all get it for free. But I do think that she understood that we're not the only people who have had this issue. And so she said that, she would reach out to us, but if we didn't hear from her, then I have her information. And because there's obviously a lot of people down there, that then we could reach out to her and she would set something up.
So what does the committee think about having Ms. Ratner?
You need to go.
I think so, right?
Because NJSBA is trying to compete with Strauss Esme now, and they want to broaden their participation with the districts with policy.
Mhm.
And there's two different sets of policy numbers for each one. And NJSBA is not, I think there's 4 or 5 people that are in that policy department right now that are running it. And they're trying to build on it, but you can't beat Strauss Esme.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a reason, I shouldn't say that, the reason they weren't at Middlesex County's meeting because of an issue with a competition. I
Okay,
think there's a competition issue.
Yeah, I
Don't
think,
quote me on it, please,
well, and so
but I think that's a competition issue.
one thing we got at the end of workshop is we got a message through, I think it was through the app, that said that, here's an extra goodie starting effective in, I don't know if it was a certain date, New Jersey School Board Association will be offering free policy
Right.
services to all districts that are enrolled as members with them. So I'm curious to see if there are more districts now that decide maybe to move from Strauss Esme to New Jersey School Boards for their policy, because right now I think there's only like 2 or 3 that actually, there's a very
Yeah.
small number
There's
that use
not
them
many that are with.
for
Jersey School
policy,
Boards.
because Strauss Esme is really like the experts, like this is their niche, right?
That's- They've been around for years.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't go wrong with them.
I mean, we could always look to compare cost if we needed to.
Sure,
Look
yeah.
down the line and see what would be, considering our unique needs here that we do not get equalization aid. I mean, I
Right.
don't know how grand of a cost it would be in difference, but it's something we could
Well,
always
did
look at.
say Strauss Esme would do it for nothing?
So Strauss Esme,
No,
they'll
you
do
pay
the,
for the service.
Oh,
No,
right.
you
sorry.
said
so I think the difference would
spring,
be,
I believe.
the policy cost would then be embedded within our membership with
Yeah.
school boards. So it would be, that would cost nothing if we decide to move
Because
forward
we're
with
already
them.
paying that membership.
And then we pay something extra to Strauss Esme. I don't remember what the cost is
I
annually.
don't know either.
It's probably
Like
in the thousands.
5,000
Yeah,
around
but
there, maybe.
I would say, let's monitor school boards,
Mm-hmm.
because knowing that this is heavily centered around legislation and legal
Mhm.
issues.
Yes.
And things can evolve out of having something that's not synced, right? We want to make sure that the resources that they're using to keep everything up to date, the policies that they're creating have a history of being in line with what districts need them to be. I would say, we monitor, and in a couple of years, if they're doing well or something like that, maybe consider, but, just with the gravity and the potential flip side,
Mm-hmm.
if we say it's $5,000, and we save $5,000, but we end up in a legal case
Yeah.
because something wasn't
Right.
synced in the right timeline or
That's
whatever, then
Yeah.
it's gone and multiple years of savings are gone. So, we have a good relationship with them. They actually do some staff development for some of our staff members
Oh,
as well,
that's good.
related to some of the intricacies of these policies. I would just say, let's monitor, let's keep an eye, especially if there's a cost savings down the road. But since they're working with 2 or 3 districts,
It's not a
I'd
lot.
like to see a proven record,
Yeah.
especially on a topic of this gravity,
So
right?
if it's only 2 or 3 out of 600 and something, I
Yes.
mean,
Right.
that's.
Right.
I think
Really
that
not
they're
enough.
trying to build it up.
Right,
Yeah,
kind of they're offering for free now.
And for now, and it's gonna take a while to bring all those
Correct.
districts over to them.
Yeah.
With 4 or 5 people managing, New Jersey school boards.
Right, right, right.
So,
Yeah.
better off with Strauss Estimate.
And, I'm assuming that the representative from Stress Estimate did not email, like,
I can ask Rashima, I haven't received an email.
okay.
If, maybe I'll have Rashima touch base with you if you remember her name. Or
I have it at home, I have, I
Yeah,
can
yeah.
get that.
So maybe we
Yeah, or
can
if you want
reach out
to-
and see if she,
Yeah.
they'll be willing to do it.
Mhm.
Okay, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That's good.
And that'll save hopefully Rashima a lot of work, because I know.
Yeah, well, it's a lot of
she's been trying to-
cross-referencing, and the other piece is we don't have their regulations
Mm-hmm.
to even
Yeah.
cross-reference. We'll go back and do that, but for right now, those numbers, they don't line up, they come up with a different regulation. Stress estimate never had anything called that, so, you know, we're not seeing a sync right now for the things that they say we don't have. We have things that are these titles
Mhm.
embedded in and called other things, so,
Should we then pause this?
That's what I'm thinking.
I think so.
Or
really,
at least finish December, because we got that far?
yeah, what do we,
Just 2 for next month.
yeah, I can, I'll look into those 2 for next month, but after this, it goes into updating.
Right.
Oh, so
Okay,
we'll just continue on and we'll start taking chunks of older,
Okay, so
you know.
the ones after this that we have and we just need to update.
Yep.
Okay, so then maybe continue.
The only other
Okay.
thing I had when you mentioned that the HIB component is in a different policy, was it? I don't know, I just checked to go
those are
look.
regulations.
A regulation. One thing that I had seen was I think, is it called closed session policy? I was just trying to go look for it. It does not list HIBs as one of the discussion topics in closed session. I don't know if that's something that was supposed to be in the one that,
Let me see.
was,
Our,
what else would closed session be? Executive session. Right, because it lists like the specific things that we discussed, and HIB is not listed as one of them in our policy,
When was it last
Oh,
updated?
in the-
2019.
I get-
2019.
So that's the executive session policy, 0166, but I didn't know if perhaps in the HIB policy, it lists that those would be discussed in closed session. And if that needs to be then incorporated into the executive session.
so that's like that's the policy that says what our meeting is. and-
Right.
and
So this is specifically a 0166 executive
It's a
session.
bylaw, right?
Oh, by the
Yeah,
way.
bylaw.
01 is a bylaw.
So if Strauss hasn't provided an update,
Mhm.
then legally,
Mm.
it doesn't need to be in there. Doesn't mean we shouldn't have it in there.
Right.
Because we do. We have it on our agenda, right?
Right.
As a,
Yeah, we
piece.
listed.
But I can have Rashima take a look and see if there was a policy alert since 2019
Mhm.
that embedded it in there. or if
Okay.
There's a newer policy, or that's a bylaw, it's not a policy.
Right,
Yeah.
Um,
It's a
Just to
bylaw.
see if it syncs.
okay,
Yep. But again, that will be one that we cycle through, probably. I'll take a look and see what numbers we're looking at. Maybe I'll start with a time frame. Like maybe we'll go with the ones that haven't been seen in 15 years, and then we'll go to 10,
Mhm.
less than 5, 5
Yeah.
or more. So that might not be the first one we go through.
Right.
But,
as long as we're following the law, it'd be good to update it, but it's, we're doing what we're supposed to do.
Yeah. but I'll see. I mean, if we redo all the updates and bylaws and things, so if there was some regulation or something that came through, then we would have it updated.
Right.
But I'll just double check and make sure we have that as the most current one.
Okay.
Or else would you discuss the HIBs? You'd have to do it in executive session.
Right. And the process was put in place 10, 20
Right.
years ago, 15 years ago.
Right, I just
So
remember when the
they've
answer.
had plenty of time to be updated.
When the HIB started, which was what, about 15 years ago?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right, anyone else have anything, any comments? All right, so that concludes our meeting for this evening. Thank you for
Thank
joining us.
I thought you meant we didn't have it as a check mark on our
You're-
public agenda.
No, we have it there, it's not here.